We have been developing this school over the last 4 years and had to submit a series of proposals to the Board of Education here in Chicago to get the school approved as a public school. And in 2007, the school was approved by the Board of Education, and we opened our doors in August of 2008. Well, our mission is to empower students to become active world citizens, starting in their own communities and learning from a very young age how to engage on a global scale and how to learn how to collaborate with students in other parts of the world. We have 6 core tenets of our mission that really set the school apart from other educational models. The first is serving the whole child. The second is fostering environmental mindedness, facilitating international awareness, learning through inquiry, modeling academic excellence, and we utilize the International Baccalaureate framework as a way to sort of teach this mission. So the International Baccalaureate program is something that's being implemented in 134 countries around the world, and it's a wonderful framework for us to teach the mission of global citizenship to our students. I grew up in the Midwest here in the United States, and for much of my life was surrounded by people who were very homogenous and people who had a very similar worldview. And it wasn't until I went to England for graduate school that I was surrounded by people with different perspectives and languages and histories and cultures and different understanding of the world and their role in the world. And at that point I became very interested in learning more about how all of these people learned and what their educational systems were like in their respective countries. So at that point in my life I began traveling and looking at different educational systems. I spent some time in Italy looking at Reggio Emilia and Montessori. Throughout that experience I recognized firsthand what was happening in the world with regards to the environment and seeing how our choices every day here are impacting people's lives in all parts of the world. And so at that point really was looking for a way to incorporate all of my experiences and my passion for children and creating something that would really make a difference in teaching our next generation about the important, urgent, and imperative role they play with regards to environmental sustainability. It's my belief that in their lifetime, this generation is going to be facing some very significant challenges with regards to the environment, and it's absolutely necessary that beginning in kindergarten at age 5, these students develop a love for the environment and a deep understanding for how their decisions are impacting the rest of the world. We do a lot of things differently in this school. Our students arrive first thing in the morning, and the first thing we do is welcome them into our cafeteria, where all of the food is made from scratch, fresh every day, and everything is organic. So we are the only school in our Chicago public school system. This is also actually a quite unusual thing to be happening across the nation, but we're piloting an initiative to feed children nutritionally balanced, all organic food starting for breakfast. So after the students finish breakfast, they enter into their classrooms where they'll be doing yoga, they'll be spending time in our organic garden. We've got solar panels up on the roof, and we've recently had a wind turbine donated to the school, so the students are learning firsthand about renewable energy and spending time in that garden every day, learning about different plants and animals, and nutrition education and environmental education is incorporated throughout the day as well. So for example, the students might study how our food gets from the farm to the table, and for 6 weeks they'll explore these concepts or these themes. So everything that we do here is really brought back to the environment and to the students' role and understanding and love for our earth. We are very much looking for teachers who are passionately, ardently aligned with the mission of the school. So not only are we looking for very bright people who have incredible educational experience, but those who really internally embrace the mission of the school, teachers who really in their own lives are living out this mission. Because at the end of the day, these teachers are with the students 8 hours a day, and their energy and their passion is really what flows through and impacts these students. So many of our teachers have international experience. They've traveled and lived and volunteered in other parts of the world. They're avid environmentalists and cyclists, and spend their summers traveling the world and looking at how they can bring that back into their classroom. So as a Chicago public contract school, we are essentially a government school. There are 600 schools here in our city, 600 public schools, and these are free schools for students to attend. Generally, people's perception of public schools is that it's a very bad educational system. However, we're living in a city where our mayor has this incredible initiative to open 100 new schools by 2010. And the whole purpose of these new schools is to really revitalize our educational system. And so what he's done is created a process where people can go and submit a proposal for a new innovative model that they believe is going to be successful with this demographic of students. And so what's happened is people from around the nation have come to Chicago to open new innovative models, many of which are very successful and doing some really interesting things. Yeah, it's been very interesting to see the response from our families. We opened our school in a very low-income, underserved community, and so we're working with a lot of immigrant families. About 80% of our students are low-income families, below the poverty level, and many of them don't speak English. And for most of our families, this is the first time that they've really heard about the environment. So at the beginning of the year, we had our families sign a contract. And although we cannot require them to volunteer, we strongly encourage all of our families to spend at least 20 hours a year volunteering at the school. And it's been very interesting to see what happened, because in actuality, at the end of the year, we had most of our families go far above and beyond. They became very engaged and excited about what was happening in the school, really wanting to participate in their child's education. We've had families showing up all summer long, taking care of our garden with their students, asking what they can do to help. And interestingly, a lot of families beginning to ask questions about how they can start a garden in their house and how they can begin composting with their child, telling us stories about how their children are asking them why they're making the choices they are, if their car is bad for the environment, if they can ride their bikes more often, how they can walk to school, these sorts of things. So it's been very exciting to see the response and the level of engagement from our families. We moved this summer to a new building, so we had to transplant our organic garden, and we're working on finalizing our kitchen so that we can prepare food for our children. So there's a lot of work to be done now, but our short-term goals really are to make this a tremendous success. What we're trying to do here in this school is to become a model for our public education system, a model for the nation, a model for what can be done in a public school or in any school that can be successful with our students. So we're very excited about outcomes and how the choices that we're making in this school, particularly with regards to the environment, with the health and the nutrition, the wellness of our students, are really making an impact on our families, on parental engagement, and also on the academic achievement of our students.